episode of the Dead Guys Don't Bust Show, a baseball card podcast from the Dead Ball Era Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Sullivan, at Ryan Sullivan MLB on Twitter. And much more important than me is my boss and the man that is my co-host, Joshua Kusnick. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. Just busy as hell and living in the epicenter of the coronavirus. So living in Florida sucks. But other than that, we're still here.
Yeah, I was going to say you are in the hot zone of hot zones right now in terms of that stuff. So fun times.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. I'm not super excited about living here. I'm pretty much confined to my apartment, but whatever.
Well, it is what it is. This is the first episode of our Dead Guys Don't Bust show. So we are excited to be talking about a player that I don't remember a great deal about, Josh, and it's Lee Nuage, a right-handed pitcher in the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. Let me give a little backstory before, just so that you don't have to as much.
Well, before we do any of that, we should really do the lead on what we're doing here.
It is our first show. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a dry run the other day, and we wanted to re-record it with some cohesion. And really, the focus of this is really the name is a lighthearted remark I made about buying baseball cards of guys who had passed away, because I'd spent so many years as an agent scouting prospects, and I was wrong all the time, like all of us. So I made a joke about the dead guys can't bust because they can't sign autographs, they can't do anything. But the real side of it, not the shitty joke, was I've always collected these guys that had passed away during their careers, their autographs. Like, I'd always preserved history. From the time I was a teenager, I always collected dead guys' autographs: Kurt Cobain, Elliott Smith, Jeff Buckley, presidents, and hockey players and baseball players. So I started a Facebook group 2 months ago. We had 1,000 members today. Give it up to the group. Woo! But I wanted to showcase the guys who had baseball cards and their autographs on those cards who had passed away young, because they're really rare and a lot of people don't know who they are. And I didn't realize that. I thought everyone knew these stories. And you have guys like Doug Million and Darnell Stenson and Lee Nuage, who we're going to talk about, or Jonathan Figueroa, who was also a Dodger. We had mentioned the other day, everyone knows, or I think everyone knows, about the Steve Olin crash, the boat crash in spring that him, Jesse Orozco, or it wasn't Jesse Orozco, it was him.
Tim Cruz, Steve Olin.
It was Cruz, Olin, and one other relief pitcher who survived. But Cruz and Olin passed away. But what people don't realize is that 8 months later, Cliff Young, also a pitcher on the Indians, passed away when his car hit a tree. Or, like I said, Doug Million had an asthma attack. Darnell Stenson got modern day lynched. And that happened in 2003. Nobody knows these stories. I think there's no better person other than the writer that I grew up reading, a guy named Frank Russo. I read his stuff as a kid till now. That's how this happened. But, I don't think there's anybody else that could really talk about it the way I could. I mean, there's people that collect this stuff like I do that don't know some of these guys have passed. And even you who work in baseball, 2003 was my first full year as an agent. And that's when Darnell Stenson passed away. And you didn't even know that or remember that happened until I had brought it up a couple weeks ago during the Bubba Wallace stuff. So I just want to talk about it from not a lighthearted perspective, but I'm not doing a deep dive anthology either. We're going to do a series of stories on the guys who have cards for baseball, hopefully hockey at some point. And I don't know football or basketball as well. Hockey and baseball are my niche, but maybe we'll do those too. I know enough of those, but not enough, I think, to be an expert. But for baseball and hockey, I am. Self-proclaimed, but I am for sure. And I think it's a cool thing I could share with people and talk about these guys that I remember. I scouted some of them. I knew some of them. I knew Nick Adenhart. I knew Jose Fernandez. I was around Yordano Ventura in my career because of Jeffers being on the Royals. So I knew a lot of these guys too, the modern day guys. And I think it sucks that people don't remember them. Andy Marti played with Brantley. So I knew a lot of these guys, and it's weird. Lavelle Buena played with Brantley a bunch. He was a cool guy. I mean, I just want to tell some baseball card stories of guys that should be remembered and often are not. And I just want to do that here, and we'll do them in quick bits, and I don't need to do this preamble every time. But yeah, that's the rundown. I want to share this with everybody, and also not to be too tongue in cheek, but I have what is dubbed a Book of the Dead, which is not the name I gave it, but I have a book of all the deceased players' autographs that I've collected in my career. This is a real thing, not a myth. I haven't really shown it to a bunch of people, but it's a real thing, and I've really been collecting it a really long time, and now I'm just kind of doubling down on it and trying to get more before it all goes away. So, yeah, the first guy we were going to talk about was a Dodger prospect that I actually had seen named Lee Nuage. I was going into college, and I was going to see Cedric Benson, another player who just passed away recently in a motorcycle accident. He played for the Dodgers, and he was a great running back at Texas. I believe he won the Heisman or was a Heisman contender. I don't know if he won the Heisman. It doesn't sound right. But anyway, he was a big time football prospect. Played in the NFL.
He went to the Bears, yeah.
Yeah, Bears, first round pick. Good career. Not great, but unfortunately passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident. But he was a very good baseball prospect. The Dodgers gave him a lot of money. He went to the GCL, and I was watching Cedric Benson. I printed some computer printer pixelated photos that were terrible that I ended up not even getting signed by Cedric Benson. I could never even get to him, even in the GCL back then. I actually pixelated photos signed by Stephen Drew at FSU that are terrible, but anyway, Lee Nuage was there, so I knew who he was. He was a crop of in the crop of Dodger Australian guys. Like a few years earlier, they had signed Kim Ashworth and I believe Jeff Nelson, but he was not. I don't know if he was a Dodger. I don't think he was, but there was a wave of Dodger prospects in the '90s from Australia. The Angels actually signed 3 Russian prospects, which is another hilarious story for another day. They have a cool Topps card that I've never seen autographed. But anyway, Nuage was a big Australian prospect, a big lefty, projectable, just a big name type prospect back then for the GCL level. He went to.
Let me fill in some of these blanks, Josh, because it's a good time for me to jump in.
Yeah, please do.
He was a 6'4" right-hander. He was born in 1983. He played on the Australian national team from 1997 to 2001. That means he was playing on the Australian team when he was 14 years old. I mean, I know Australia's not the US, but that's still pretty crazy. Signed with the Dodgers in 2001 and spent 2002 and 2003 in low A with pretty good numbers. I mean, 8.5 K9, 3.2 walks per 9, 20 years old. I mean, this looks like a pretty good prospect, on paper.
Yeah, and I remember seeing him there. I don't remember the scouting report. I couldn't tell you anything about how he threw or anything, but I was there when he was there, and then he went to Savannah, and in '03 he had a Bowman card come out, and I remember negotiating my first card deals in '04. Or no, it was '03. It was '03. Jamar Walton, Chad Blackwell, they were my first card deals. They're doing free signings in our group now, or $5 or whatever it is. But anyway, shameless plug. But those card sets come out at different times of the year, and the Bowman set usually comes out in July, so you can get those guys' autographs at some point in the season. So Lee Nuage had a Bowman card and a Chrome card come out mid-season while he was in Savannah. And someone went and bought 30 cards of him in a lot off eBay. And then the day they arrived, went to the field to get all 30 signed. After that happened, Nuage was sent down to the GCL again, where no one evidently got his autograph on anything that anyone can tell. And out of the 3 people that got the 30, one guy got 13 of them. A brother of his got 7. The other 10 went to a third friend. And that 10, from what I understand, is in that collection forever because that guy unfortunately passed away and his mom won't touch them. So like 20 Lee Nuage signed cards confirmed, give or take. Then when Lee went to the GCL, finishes the year there, goes home to Australia where he is dating someone on a show called Australian Idol, which is like American Idol. And there was an incident. It's tabloid fodder. You can Google it. I don't want to go into all of it here. And he allegedly committed suicide and jumped off a balcony. And that was terrible. and that was what happened there. And I don't know if there's conflicting stories, if it was an accident. It doesn't seem like, from what I'd read, that it was, but it's horrible nonetheless.
Just doing my research online, it's like one of those, yeah, he committed suicide, ... kind of things. Like they're leaving it open ended, even in the way they write it. So
yeah, I've never been able to see anything but the suicide, so I don't like speculating. I mean, I've read the same stuff you have. It's a suicide, as far as I'm concerned, until I hear otherwise. But with respect to the trading cards, he's in the 2003 Bowman set and Chrome set. There are no Chrome cards signed, as far as anyone can tell. And the Bowman cards, I have 13 of the 20 in the market, and the guy's brother has the other one. He's in our group. His name's Tony Nichols, and he's cool. I love the guy. He's been nothing but nice to me. And he's the guy who had this collection, and I found him on eBay. Funny, years ago, he sold one. So there was one in circulation from him, and then I bought one on eBay, and then I saw him on eBay like a year later again, and I bought another one, and I asked, how many do you have? He said he had all of them. Tells me this whole story I regurgitated to you guys. And now he's in our group, and we're friendly, and what a good dude. He and I actually had a lot of similar autograph experiences coming up at the similar age, like same prospects, same cards, same projects, same people. So it was cool coming back to the hobby for me and meeting some of these people that I was so very disconnected from for a very long time. But to focus on the cards, for people who collect that set, that card doesn't exist, and it really didn't exist until Tony sold some on the market, and now I have all of them, and I sent them to Beckett, and I'm waiting to get them back from Beckett to get them slabbed, and yeah, I'm gonna sell some of them to get them to collectors and try to get I'm trying to get them into the market. Like, I really want people to finish their sets, and that was part of the reason I wanted to start the group is A, remember these guys, and B, help people finish their projects and have a clearinghouse for it. Because for me, collecting this stuff, I spend tons of hours just looking for it, and if people could just go to a clearinghouse for it, that would be easier. So
I collect stats, so I know how hard it is sometimes if you're missing one card. I mean, it's brutal on you. You know, you want to finish the damn set.
yeah, so the cool part about the Facebook group, socially at least, is that you can remember these guys and their careers, and then I help people finish their projects, and I've really enjoyed doing that. Like, just getting to talk about these guys' careers. I love those guys who played one game in the big leagues, and a guy like Nuaj, I'm excited to post what those cards look like, because those were previously unknown in the hobby, and it was a big deal, and people who collect that stuff know how big a deal it was, and I'm glad that, you know, I found them and I realized what they were, and now I can just we can do this video. We can talk about Nuaj's career. We don't have to focus on how it really ended, and I think focusing on what kind of prospect he was, and his dad's website, the memorial page, the louisnuaj.org, I think it is, or nuaj.org. Sorry about that.
Google, you're gonna find it. I mean, it's the
Yeah, Google Nuaj. It's his dad runs a site in Australia, and I've read some of his book reviews on Amazon, and it's an interesting guy, and I'm sure his father would love to hear from fans about his kid, and I got to find his address. I will absolutely be sending him one of the autographed ones, because I'm sure his dad doesn't have one. I just realized that live, so I'm going to save one.
There's probably a great chance he doesn't have it. He may not have anything baseball related signed by his son.
Yeah, when they get slabbed, I'll send it over to his dad. I'm definitely going to do that. I'll do that. I'll report back what happens. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. So yeah, Lee Nuaj was a Dodger prospect that had a card and had a 1 month window that he could have possibly autographed it, and it's really rare, and I can't wait to take a picture of it and show everybody, but we don't have it for this first episode, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad we brought some light to this this player, and I'm glad that some people are going to finish their 2003 Bowman sets now.
Yep.
And definitely go check out online, reach out to his dad. He's pretty active online. You know, what a terrible story and all that good stuff, but trying to keep his son's memory alive. And I know I'd appreciate it if I heard from people if I was in that situation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. People should send cards to him. I think his address is posted, and we can find it wherever we post this. We should probably tag that too.
Yeah. Anything else, Josh, before we wrap up episode 1 of the Dead Guys Don't Bust show?
No, we'll do this again. We're gonna do Doug Million next. We'll do at least 10 for the first anthology, and then we'll break it off. Have it, see how it goes. See if we want to do 10 more, and just keep rolling with it. I've got a bunch of stories, and I would love to tell them. And if there's an audience for it, I will keep doing it.
Well, I hope everybody's enjoyed episode 1 of the Dead Guys Don't Bust show. And I am Ryan Sullivan. That is Joshua Kusnick, and we will be back next time. Bye for now.